Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Command Zone podcast.
No, we're not the Command Zone. God damn it, Matthew. Welcome back, everybody. We're here today to talk about Commander stuff. So we're wrapping up towards the end of 2018.
Year in review.
But we wanted to do a very restrained year in review.
I had to be the parent when we were writing the show notes for this, and I said, "No, John, only pick one."
Yeah,
So yeah.
But I think that's probably a good.
It's a good sign.
It's a good process to go through.
It's also a good sign that there's so many things.
There are so many things. Maybe.
Maybe. You mean maybe?
So 2018, and we're talking about 2018, and actually a lot of stuff has come out in 2018. So we have Rivals of Ixalan, Dominaria, Battle Bond, Core 19, Commander 2018, Guilds of Ravnica, which are all new amidst all of the supplemental reprint product crap.
We don't even talk about those.
We don't even talk about those. So we wanted to talk about the new stuff, and I guess there's also some of those like guild kits, game nights things, but we're not really. Those are weird niche. I don't know. We're not going to talk about those today. We're talking about the big expansion blocks and supplemental product that is largely geared towards the EDH format.
Yeah. So the table of contents for today, we're each going to run through one legendary creature that was a favorite, did something for the format in our own opinion.
Yeah.
It's worded there very well. It wasn't given a fair shake or hasn't been so far.
Yeah. Or we need to bring people back to this is a great commander. We're talking about the legendary creatures from a commander perspective.
Yeah.
And we're only talking about one.
One each.
Because there were a lot of new commanders printed.
Yep.
Commander 2018 alone came out with a dozen, almost close to a dozen new commanders by itself.
Yeah, and most importantly, some of these came out a long time ago. Now that you think about it.
Well,
I know it's been in the last year, but you forget that.
Rival of Ixalan was 11 months ago.
Spooky.
Where does time go?
Down the drain.
Yeah, out the window.
The other section that we're going to quickly run through, we've worded it as either for each of us 2 new cards in quotation marks, or more importantly, more new mechanics,
new cycles, new collection of things
that we each think is important to talk about from very different reasons. I think.
Yeah.
Because what we have are mine obviously 2 specific cards that represent something wider. Yours are a new mechanic in a cycle that we'll talk about.
I think people ripped on it a bit because of.
I still rip on.
Yeah, because of when it got printed and with what. Yeah, so let's talk about it. New boys on the block, new commander cards, new commanders that, funnily enough, I actually do not play this card as a commander.
Really? Oh, you don't? No.
I don't.
Why
but
not?
I'm constantly in debate, and I think this solidifies me. Well, it's because it's how many mono red decks can you have, Matthew?
You have one.
I do. One. And so I'm here to talk about and advocate for Etali Primal Storm. 4 red legendary creature elder dinosaur printed in Ixalan, printed in January 2018. Whenever Etali Primal Storm attacks, exile the top card of each player's library. Then you may cast any number of non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. And then more importantly, pop. The storm rages and the earth breaks. 6/6. Raymond Swanland, you have made a pretty card.
This is part of the cycle of elder dinosaurs that a lot of them are disappointing.
Well, yes.
The black one?
I think it's because Tetsamok is I think we have the impression that the cycle wasn't, some of them are disappointing solely because Tetsamok really brought it all down.
Well, because he's a perfect example of
so close.
When you're reading through a new card, you're going up the hill. You're like, oh, we're almost there. Then you get up there, and instead of getting that nice view, there's fucking cloud bank, man. You can't see anything. You get there like, oh, I can only do this on my turn. Oh, I can only do this as first. Oh.
It's like when your family comes from out of town. It's like, I'm going to take you to this great restaurant, and then you realize that it's closed on the day that they're there, and you're like, holy frick. Man, it's just why couldn't you just be open so I could share this? That was the same thing with the Elder Dino cycle. Zatalpa is also so mediocre, which is the mono white one, but we'll forget about that. Etali, the Primal Storm. And the reason why this is my boy of 2018 if it's a boy. I don't know. Atali.
Don't assume it's gender.
We don't. Yeah. Okay. It's a storm. That's all that matters. It is above these things. The reason why I want to talk about Atali and why I would encourage everybody in the new year to make an Atali deck is because I think it is one of the best cards that have been printed in 2018. I think it's the best card in 2018, printed in 2018, besides Matt's pick, that really reflects the format.
Well, it reflects Wizards giving a crap in a standard block.
Yeah, like it.
You think about, and you read it, like, and you read it, and it's perfectly that. I think we were just talking before we started recording that I see it as this is the extent that they can flex into really acknowledging a format that cares about a relevant format that cares about multiplayer cough brawl. RIP.
Well, this was obviously printed for
PF for respects.
PF for respects. Yeah, poor
but
brawl.
You're right that the timing to bring up is good, because this was printed when Brawl was shiny and still sort of new.
People had hope,
and then it was crushed.
And this is my general bent when it comes to a lot of new cards, legendary creatures, is I like legendary creatures that care about the amount of people that are sitting at the table. And you can even look at Commander 2018. There are new commanders that don't care how many people are sitting at the table.
No.
Like, I'm sorry, Lord Windgrace doesn't care. It could be in a 1v1 game. Like, it doesn't care about what I think is the most important part, which is the multiplayer aspect. And I guess there's a subcategory here that cares about that each opponent clause in cards like Yuriko. But I think Atali is fantastic because we've also haven't seen this effect so strongly in red.
That's the big thing. It's taking, what is it called? Impulse draw? Like exile the top card of your library and you can play that till end of turn, and just turning it up.
And it cares about, sure, I guess suppose for the critic out there, you can play Atali in a 1v1. And I think it is played in current fringe standard decks. But like, this is a card in my mind that thrives on Commander, and it is a general. Like, this is a card that you want. There's all kinds of legendary creatures out there, and I would say maybe even half of them don't give a crap about helming a deck. But like, Atali is a card that shapes an EDH game.
It also, I think, it exists as that. It exists as, this is going to lead me to victory. I'm going to give it haste. I'm going to, hopefully it's going to survive combat. You know what I mean?
But like, it doesn't even.
No, I'm not even saying that that's a bad thing too. I'm saying like that's one thing that fits into, which is this is going to be a good legendary creature to build a deck around.
Yeah.
There's the other part of it as well, that with Ixalan coming out, we did get new tribes and we got dinosaurs, and unfortunately, as a dinosaur player, a lot of them suck. Yeah. This does not. This is something that you want it to come out. You want to cheat it out with just Gisanth. Or Jasanth, however you want to say it. But it also just fits into, and the third way I see this, it fits into just red decks. Like, sneak attack this? Perfect. There are ways that you can, I think, see this through different lenses. But as you said, most importantly for the format, it's a new general. It's a new commander that is going, people are going to build around it. I hope people build around this more to do really janky things with. Mono red, manipulate the top card of your library. It might, like, you can do senseis and scrying and things like that, but you will often only see that in Esper. This is just like, and the art is amazing. Sorry, like, I really hope we have like an enlarged bit of the art on, or at least the card on the screen, because it's like, I don't know. You what was it? Raymond Swanland. You did such a good job.
So I think it's a card that I have interacted with and played throughout 2018. And through my experience with it, I think it's something that I'm going to be playing a lot more into 2019. And I think that's a good, at least for me, that's a good barometer for seeing what is the longevity of a card the year after it's been released. And I think Atali for me, amidst all of them, I think there's honorable mentions, and Matt had to rein me in because I had if Atali's the gold medal, then my silver and bronze medalists are pretty up there.
Don't name them. We're sticking
okay, yeah, we're not naming them, okay, but
funny enough that the pun that was there, the barometer, I think about creatures like that where I don't know, I don't want to revisit them. Why do you want to revisit another mono blue creature that cares about countering things.
Yeah.
Like, what I want is a big fun dino.
Yeah.
And that's the word. Not just saying that this commander is just fun compared to other ones. I'm not saying Brawl isn't fun. If you like losing friends, go ahead and build Brawl, I guess. But I think he's going to have a long life in the format. I think this might not, I'm not going to say this is a staple, but this is going to be one of those cards where it comes out, and if it survives the turn, it's going to generate a lot of value. And it's going to, there's probably going to be more synergies with this moving forward that it's going to be used in.
I like evaluating cards for legendary creatures that we have all acknowledged that Commander is a multiplayer format. The success of all of the shows of Commander are all multiplayer. Nobody's necessarily watching French. Why we still get Commander products that don't capitalize on this is like far beyond me. Itali was a little guy, little mono red guy in Rivals of Ixalan that cares about multiplayer and that has a strong effect and always brings something new and exciting to the table. And like that for me is like, you've checked all my boxes, and your card also does the same thing, which is why I'm happy that it's there too.
So this is also a deck that I've built it, and I've committed to making it the most it can be, not necessarily just fun, but also just power-wise. And that card is Zansha, Sleeper Agent. It was printed in the last Commander set, Commander 2018.
Yep.
CMC is 1 generic, a black and a red, for a legendary creature minion. As Zansha, Sleeper Agent, enters the battlefield, an opponent of your choice gains control of it. Zansha attacks each combat if able, and can't attack its owner or planeswalker its owner's control. Pay 3 generic mana. Zansha's controller loses 2 life, and you draw a card. Any player may activate this ability. So this is something when I first read it, I was like, so this came in the Lord Windgrace deck. It is completely out of place in that deck. It's also, to finish her summary, 3 mana for a 5/5.
Right, 5/5 is important.
So when I first read this, I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Someone else gains control of it. Flavor's on. She's supposed to be an agent of the Cabal on Dominaria. Perfect. Rakdos, love it. Because Rakdos I've always struggled with that you can do Group Slug, which is something that we were just talking about. We want to do an episode to sort of talk about how we both view it. Group Slug is something that you are doing the Rakdos mentality that we're all here and put a chain around all of us, and we're slowly being lowered into like a lava pit, and I'm laughing about it.
Yeah. And
I might be the last one to burn, but we're all going to burn. Like, there are cards that are so representative of this strategy and this, like, the flavor of it, that you can, this is what I saw her as being the new creature helming that deck. Then it's that last ability. Pay 3 generic mana, and whoever you've given this control to will lose the life, and your other opponent or the person themselves or you gets to draw a card.
Yeah, because anybody can activate it.
Anybody can do it, and they can do it at any time. And I just love how 3 generic mana, siphon for 2 life, someone else draws a card. And I've now had this deck built for like a month, and hilariously, that's another thing we're previewing here, that we keep track of our stats within our play group. And John said no one's played Rakdos, and I was like, well, now's the time because Zansha came out.
Yeah, as much as I previously just ripped on Commander 2018, not printing commanders that care about multiplayer format, that care about Commander. Zansha, to me, I think is there's one other, but we're only not too much. Zansha is like the notable card of like the purity of it, because I'm sure there's a critic out there that can say, oh yeah, but you can still play this 1v1, like it doesn't care about multiplayer. Not really. It's beautiful when all of it comes together, and it really all comes together when you play with 4 people or 3 people.
The way that I see this similar with Itali is that, because I love trying to see, okay, what does it fit into in my mind?
Yeah.
There's like, mechanically, it's great.
Mechanically, it's like all over the place.
It's confusing to look at, but I think like mechanically I love it from the fact that she's an activated ability that she doesn't have to tap for, can be activated any time. Anyone can activate it, because we so don't often see that effect where it says any player can activate this ability.
I sometimes wonder like if you could almost basically make this like a mono black deck.
You could,
and then you do all of your shenanigans, big mana things with Zansha leading the helm.
So then The other way that I saw this is that it's just so, from a flavor perspective and in the color that it's in, it's so on point. She's an agent of not just a cabal.
She's a sleeper agent
of the cabal,
and she like is a sleeper agent in all aspects of her design.
And mechanically, like this also harkens back to. I'm not going to name the card, but some of the mechanics we saw in Unstable, which we didn't even talk about in this, but like there's a couple cards that cared about weird things, and I think that was they were testing the waters for Zancha, because there are very few creatures that come in and get given away. Gifts not wanted. I was going to say gifts ungiven, but that's an actual card. The other way that I see this is that it's very political. The third aspect that I love to focus on is that does this come out and mess with the board, mess with people's idea of, okay, what do I have access to now? And most importantly, the fourth one is, am I in control of doing that as the one playing this deck? Which then, and I'm not going to talk about, falls into how do I then build the deck to really care about that? There's the group slug aspect, but there are other ones where I'm just really caring about, as I've explained to John, my opinion on this is that, you know, the scenes where like in a movie someone's strapped to a chair, they're going to get tortured, and this person, the torturer comes out and they unfurl that like leather carrier for all their tools. That's where I see like Zancha is that it's not just the whole the imagery that I invoked of us lowering into a pool of lava. It's also being like to a room full of torturers who are going to beat the crap out of each other, saying, hey, here's a bunch of tools.
Well, because I think in the majority of the games that your Zancha deck has been at the table, somebody has been eliminated. Somebody has been eliminated with her last ability, and it was not you who did it.
No, I let you, like it's
which was like from I don't know from what perspective, but from a perspective is brilliant, because you're just playing her, giving her to somebody who's at 4 life. And then the other 2 players go, I'm going to sink all of my mana that I've left open so that person gets siphoned, and then I'm drawing cards off of it, and then Zancha is then removed from the game. So it's so... at first I was not sure that I would really like the deck. Yeah.
And I built it, and I was missing a lot of cards. I've now since added more cards. The only other card I will name from a synergy perspective in this is Braid of Fire.
Yeah.
That you get increasing red mana in your upkeep, which you can only use during your upkeep. Right. Oh, look, you have a mana sink.
Yeah. Zancha's like...
To wrap off, these are 2 creatures that we saw, like, I don't know, I've seen deck lists for Zancha, and I think I'm really looking forward to more effects that, and same with Atali for you, I think, that care about coming out, and the more people the better, because like you said, I think this might do okay, not in French, but like you're down to one opponent, and I will gladly give them Zancha, and I will let them draw their cards, because I'm just going to sink all my mana every turn. Because if anything else, that 12 mana that I'm sitting on, tap it, sink it, and they're dead. Like,
well, because there's the card that sees plays in your Rico, and then this is like a whole button that you can go with is you give a creature shadow. It's an enchantment, and you pay, I think, double black, and you give a creature shadow. So it's like you can play it, and then you can give your stuff shadow. But it's like, oh, somebody has Zancha. It's like, oh, sure, you're gonna swing hit somebody. I give her shadow.
There's some hilarious cards that I put into that deck that, like, the fearful situation of what if someone gives her vigilance? Well, I'm gonna make sure she can't block.
Yeah.
Like, there were ways that there's what's the fun one? The one card I haven't. I want to have ways. There's a couple in black that pump her power, and then give her infect.
Yeah.
I want to knock someone else out, like, because I love doing crap like that where someone looks at you and they go, really?
Yeah. Well, it's because you were scarred by Berserk.
Yeah. someone at a table was not even involved in the combat step, and they said, oh, what's their power at? What's your life at? Oh, I'm going to Berserk that creature and let someone else take them out.
Yeah.
So,
well, from that person's perspective, they eliminated a player, and then they eliminated a problem creature. So, but like, yeah, Zancha, I think great. I think 2018 is the year of Red. Oh. I think Red has come out.
There's a lot of standard cards and like that aren't even impactful to the format.
Yeah,
but I think Red has been, because there was the standard Red deck that would just do really well with aggro.
Well, yeah, and Red has been like, Red I think has had some of the greatest success. Although you, the listeners, can let me know if that is a stupid thing to say or not. I think 2018 is the year of red.
Jimmy Wong be praised.
Jimmy Wong be praised. I'm sure he's happy over there. And then, so those are our legendary creatures. Those are our hot boys in the house, which are Atali and Zancha. So now we were going to talk about a new mechanic, a new cycle, a new collection of cards that we think need to be talked about in 2018 in a year in review. And so I'm going to go to the gate here, and I'm going to talk about the Commander Storm cycle from Commander 2018.
Maybe just read the...
I'm just going to read. So there's one in each color.
Yeah.
Echo Storm, Imperial Storm, Fury Storm, Genesis Storm, Skull Storm. They all do different things.
But they all have one common paragraph.
They all have one common paragraph. This is the thing that R&D could not come up with a keyword for. When you cast this spell, copy it for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. So obviously, great. This is good. They're printing a card that cares about commanders in the commander set. As we all know, that there was some speculation this year with the release of Commander 2018, and these cards I still think are all universally pretty inexpensive.
I think I'm trying to think now, because
I think Fury Storm and Echo Storm are probably pretty up there.
The upside to a lot of these is that because Commander 2018 had mixed reception, that's all I'm going to say about the topic. A lot of these are very, like, a lot of cards from the set are in that period, we're in that period right now that they're still out there. You can go to big box stores and pick up them sealed. But from those of us who love picking up singles, they're pretty cheap. Also, importantly, for some of these, they do also have an added-on clause to their paragraph, which is you can choose new targets for the copies. Because some of them actually do care for the targeted ability of this.
Yes.
Maybe just, I don't know if you want to run through at least...
So the one that I think that a lot of people I think the two that a lot of people pointed out right away, which were Echo Storm and Fury Storm. Echo Storm is the blue one. It's 3 and a blue. It has that Commander Storm effect, and Echo Storm reads, create a token that's a copy of target artifact. Fury Storm is the red spell. It's the red Commander Storm one. It's 2 and a red at instant. Copy target instant or sorcery. You may choose new targets for the copy. Now, to run it down mechanically, and this is why I think they're very important to talk about, and why I hope we see more of this, or I don't think these were given a fair shake in the context of their release, is that you cast this and you get its effect.
You get one.
You get the spell. This is under the assumption that you have not cast your commander. You cast your commander once, and then you cast this spell. You're copying it.
You get the original and a copy.
So, just to use Echo Storm as an example, you've cast it without casting your commander. You create a token copy of target artifact.
You get another soul ring. You've cast your Sidri, whomever, and then you cast Echo Storm. You're going to create 2 tokens that are a copy of maybe the same artifact or 2 different artifacts. That's the important bit, I think, for that ability of choosing your targets for the ones that are targeted.
Yeah.
It's obvious that they would put it in there, but it lends to a bit more strength to saying, okay, I don't need 7 soul rings.
Yeah.
I maybe want a bunch of different things.
But I think where people need to... I think the big caveat to these that I was made aware of after the fact is that these synergize beautifully with partner commanders, because how it works with partner commanders, so say you have let's use the classic Flash Hulk combo, Tymna and Thrasios. If you cast Thrasios and Tymna and then you cast one of these Commander Storm cards, it counts each time you've cast a commander, so it gets copied twice. So you're gonna have 3 of these spells on the stack. I think this is profoundly different in the evaluation compared to if you have a single commander, because immediately with partners, you're going to be casting your commander more.
Yep.
And suddenly now these spells, I think, this Commander Storm cycle is viewed differently. The other thing is these also, I think, synergize beautifully with low-cost commanders.
Oh, for sure. Like
Amara, the new Amara, who costs only a green and a white, and then you put them, and then you use the green and a white one in this deck. like they're really good. Same with like Temnit, same with Grenzo, same with a lot of these little guys.
I think you bring like the hype. Not the hype, the reality of Echo Storm, Fury Storm, the blue and the red, compared to the others, they do very powerful effects. Because like if you look at what each of these are actually mimicking, you're like Fury Storm is mimicking Fork,
right? And it's
Echo Storm is just like, I'm thinking of Saheeli's Artistry, the one that I love playing.
And they're not as good like on face value as those effects.
Yeah, but it's also the fact that I would almost play Echo Storm without that clause. I would play Fury Storm potentially without that clause, because the other thing that's good to note about Fury Storm, it doesn't have to target an instant sorcery you control.
Yeah, it's like it is pure Fork.
Yeah, and then the other ones, like Imperial Storm, I do run in some of my decks.
Imperial Storm is the one that makes the 4/4 Angel.
Which...
You copy it once, you're getting 8 power in the air for 6 mana.
Which I think, because it's doing Entreat the Angels, it's doing those white token generating spells that... I think if a lot of these really shine, and I'm thinking of the Imperial Storm, Genesis Storm, and Skull Storm are shining late game.
Yeah.
Late game, like Skull Storm costing 9 mana, and having really, I guess, a big Edict effect, which is each opponent sacrifices a creature, each opponent who can't loses half your life rounded up.
I think Skull Storm is an interesting card because usually black finishers, big spells, are usually have X in their costs. Skull Storm doesn't. So in a deck like Jovala...
It's balancing, I think, what you were saying, which is, like, I run Imperial Storm in SRAM, the white one, because SRAM costs 2,
yeah.
And in my mind, it's that the quick math, which is, okay, late game, once I'm actually at 6 mana, how many times have I actually cast SRAM at that point, and how much power is that generating me? I think some of these I struggle with because they fall into my, this almost made it, but I'm going to cut it.
Yeah.
Like Genesis Storm, I want to be really good.
Genesis Storm is the reveal the top cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land permanent. You may put that card onto the battlefield, then you put all revealed cards that weren't put onto the battlefield on the bottom of your library in any order. So this is an effect most reminiscent of Primal Surge or Genesis Wave. And I think this is the one that has like the most direct competitors in the fact that I don't know if Genesis Storm is that good, but it is just a, if you want to evaluate it, it's the bronze medalist in that podium. Like it's still a medalist.
There are better effects, I think.
Yeah.
I think evaluating them as honestly, I just love the fact that they've made these that. You said there's no keyword for it, Commander Storm. I'd be curious if moving forward they open this up into multicolored versions of these. Like, yeah. And I've seen the value of Fury Storm.
Yeah.
I've seen it played. I have not seen the other ones like be that impactful in the game. And I think in a vacuum, these obviously have homes.
Yeah.
And they do once you work out the math as into where you are in the game state, can generate value that outweighs their cost.
But I think in general, if you're playing partner commanders or low-cost commanders, like you need to come back and you need to look at the commander storm cycle in a different light. And I think the other caveat is that usually cycles in commander sets at the time sometimes seem wishy-washy, but give it 6 months, give it 12 months, people go, wait, why did we sleep on that? And we see that all the time with cards that are printed in commander sets where it's like then it's like 2 years later they print a card and you're like, oh boy, man, look at some of what they printed 2 years ago.
Like some of the confluences.
Yeah, and those are the big boys that. So, and cycles in Commander are usually pretty strong. I think these got devaluated, or there wasn't enough discussion about how to break these. I'm not an expert, but I think people should come back and look at these.
I think they found more of a home in the pre-con decks because of the Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
And really, I've seen it with some other people who have built, like in my Astrid deck or a friend of ours, Saheeli deck, they are coming out a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of those decks, I'm trying to think, maybe Aminatu, but she has a lower CMC. The rest have ways of generating a lot of mana to compensate for the commander tax because they want the Planeswalkers of power and strength that brings to the synergy of the deck. So I can see how these were sort of maybe not put in as in like forced in.
Yeah.
They were put into the decks because they're like, well, Planeswalkers die all the time. You can keep bringing them out. Why not get value from that? I would also love, imagine just this. Imagine someone Echo Storms and then you Fury Storm your Echo Storm, and it just, the interactions of copying and choosing new targets, and it's just, I think they're good. They're very good.
Yeah.
I really hope it opens this up to the door of, okay, what's the next storm cycle in Commander 2019?
Let's hope and pray that it's something to do with partners.
Let's hope it's not shitty.
Yeah. So, Commander Storm, go back, take a look.
Wizards, don't be cowards. Make it a keyword.
Yeah.
This isn't me attacking them. This is just being like, I love when you hear these new keywords sometimes. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, Eminence is, okay, that's a good word. But.
Yeah, I know. Commander Storm. So now, your turn, Matthew.
So these are two cards that I want to talk about because they came from Battle Bond. I love what they do. The deck I have that's built around it was a deck that you could build in the past, but it was very closed off in that what you could do with it. And
it's not even like in the same league anymore. I don't.
No, like it was shit. And these two represent to me a couple other cards that came out.
Well, probably all of like this whole cycle that came out in Battle Bond.
Well, so these do a couple things, but
so you're talking about it in what are they, Matt?
So this is Zindersplit, Eye of Wisdom, and Okone, Eye of Chaos. Pronounce those as you will. Zindersplit, I'll read through these quickly. 4 colorless and a blue for a legendary homunculus. Partner with Okone, Eye of Chaos, meaning that when this creature enters the battlefield, target player may put Okone into their hand from their library, then shuffle. At the beginning of combat on your turn, flip a coin until you lose a flip. Whenever a player wins a coin flip, draw a card. He's a 1/4. Okone, Eye of Chaos, 4 mana and a red. Legendary creature, Cyclops Berserker, which is perfect. Partner with Zindersplit. Same mechanic applies. You can go search your library, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. At the beginning of combat on your turn, flip a coin until you lose a flip. Whenever a player wins a coin flip, double Okone's power and toughness till end of turn. It's a 3/3. So these two came out from Battle Bond, and these are an example of the partner with mechanic.
Yeah.
Which
we've seen is
this is a cycle of partner with, which goes anywhere power level wise up to the Planeswalkers, which can also be your commanders Will and Rowan Kennerith, down to, I don't even want to say down, but like there's the Boros.
The Boros ones are certainly at the bottom of the barrel.
Which care about tribal dragons and knights. Which, you know what?
Boros.
They did make them. They did try to make something for each, and I'll give them credit that now if someone wants to go build that, they want to build a St. George and the Dragon deck.
Yeah.
So,
which doesn't make any sense because St. George fought the dragon, but you know. Okay.
So these two, very very quickly, because again I could talk about these all day. There's the deck that you can build around this, which is coins.
Yeah.
Before it was very difficult to build because you had to really ask yourself, okay, what commander am I playing in really red and blue, and maybe into a third color that cares about that. There wasn't a lot. I'm thinking maybe because like even the cards that exist before, a lot of the ones that care about you actually flipping are just red. So then you wonder, okay, well, who am I actually doing? Who am I actually playing to get the most out of that?
Yeah.
And a lot of those cards are really crappy. They're not worth playing. I've played some of them in this deck that I've sort of started maybe not to cut, but to focus more on the ability that each of these have for flipping coins on their own, as opposed to a 1 red instant that you can only cast before blockers are declared and might give one creature trample or prevent all combat damage that it does. I just want to talk about these two because I think what they do, and I'm glad Wizards has done it with a couple other creatures. Another one that comes to mind is Arcades, which is the banished commander that cares about defenders and walls.
Yep.
It takes this niche, either creature type or mechanic or cards that care about a certain thing that you could shoehorn into a deck and say, oh, I'm playing. There are certain ones like I'm playing things for the art or I'm playing things for the flavor, but mechanically I'm playing walls.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I have to play Doran. Then I have to play certain things that can let them attack, and it's this whole thing. Arcades and cards like this, like Zindersplit and Okune, say, okay, there was that strategy before. There was that, not archetype, but there was that type of deck from before. Let's enable it. And now it's actually turned into a strong deck because I love playing these guys because there's so much fun you can do with them, and there's so many cards before, like Kark's Thumb.
Yeah.
That, as someone in our play group has shown, just breaks off the downside of these guys and throws it away. Because every combat I'm drawing like 10 cards. Okune, I think the largest I got him to was 3,000 power. 3,000 and something because of the math.
And then you flung him.
then I flung him at someone's face, or I thud.
But do you think it's disappointing that they didn't print them with just partner instead of partner with?
I think this is them maybe experimenting a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think what they did, I'm not saying they hit a gold mine when they created partner. I think what they did though is they've opened up a lot of possibilities into not just from like a product development standpoint and a play development standpoint, but from a player point of view, they're saying to us, here is a new slew of legendary creatures. Oh, we want that. One box checked. They're in these colors that we've been wanting new commanders within. Another box checked. Build whatever decks you want, because a lot of the command zone has talked about it. They've done the math. They looked at how many actually color combinations and decks have come out of just the partners from the Commander 2016.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. You won't play a lot of them, but it's a lot. So I would have loved if they did just partner on these.
Yeah.
Without the tutor effect. Because obviously as Commander players, we don't really care about that.
Although...
Outside of the ones that you would play, which is like Krav, Regna. I love playing Gorm and Virtus. When you do want to go grab, or Rowan and Will.
I think they're interesting mechanically to talk about from in the 99 too, because we've seen the power, particularly of the Orzhov pair and of the Izzet pair.
Yep.
So Regna and Krav and Will and Rowan, and you play one, you get the other one. I mean, I've also kind of
it's ETB, by the way. It's not cast.
Yeah.
Which is also the wording on that reminder text. I don't know why to me, but it always seems different than what they've done in the past. I don't know what it is. When this creature enters, target player, which is I guess goes to Battle Bond's two-headed giant.
But what I've wanted to see, but I guess this never happened, is if you target somebody else's.
You can
target an opponent so they fail Defiance, so they shuffle their library, and you say F you, Animatu.
Well, I've actually done it that it was with Regna and Krav. Someone else was playing Orzhov, and I was like, it was be political. I was like, do you want your Regna? Because I'm going to play my Krav. Go get yours, because mine's already in my command zone. So I think if they didn't say we could mechanically use these as both like partner commanders,
yeah,
I would have been so heartbroken, and I would have said, like, Wizards, what are you doing? But I'm really glad, and I'm hoping that moving forward in supplemental products, because that's what Battlebond really is. I'd love it if they did it in Standard. I don't think they would.
No.
That they care, and it goes back to what Tali is, that they, not saying they care, but that they're aware that this is something that the community and people want.
I'm worried that we're never going to see partner commanders.
Oh, don't say such things.
Like, because they did this. Because what this says to me is that, like, were really any of the Battlebond commanders so powerful? I don't know.
Will and Rowan are really good.
Yeah, and I don't know what a Thrasios and a Will deck looked like.
Oh, you mean like that?
Yeah, if they didn't print them with. Like, that's what... Because I think...
Oh, they would not be the same creatures we see here.
No, they wouldn't. They would probably be different.
They'd be multicolored. They would be... very, I think, hamstringed in what they can do, and I don't think, as much as I would say it would be curious to see what they would look like, I almost don't want them to do it, because I think these are perfect like they are, and I just hope that they run with this idea that partner with and partner
can be separate,
are just more design space for them to work in.
I hope that's what they're doing over there, and they're not doing the partner with has replaced partner.
That would make me sad.
That would be... We've seen partner come back, which I think is interesting in 2018 that it did come back 2 years later. Came back in a different form. Hopefully not a form that has overtaken it.
That's what I was going to say, is that I think some of these... The trajectory of some of these mechanics that we've seen that are very, I say, unique and pushing the bill of what we see in our format to be allowed, that actually reference sometimes the command zone or the commander, like goes back to the whole Planeswalker cycle that could be your commanders. I think that the OG partner, let's call it that, is just on a bit of a Comets trajectory, that it's looping around and we're going to see it. I'm really curious what they're going to do in 2019, because I think the expectations from a lot of the people are that, okay, well, they've done Tribal, they've done Planeswalkers.
What's really interesting, I guess, maybe wraps up 2018 really nicely, because isn't it interesting that in 2018 they didn't necessarily tread new ground, but they've compensated in areas that a lot of people have been asking for, right? We got big Dino Daddies, we got more legendary creatures, we got like the finishers for all of these tribes, we got Planeswalkers again, we have new partners, albeit different ones. You know, like there's like we're seeing, we got a new Lands Commander. We got new Bant.
I wouldn't call him a Lands Commander.
Well, he's really good. But
I love Windgrace. He's a good kitty. It's not. I actually built the Lands deck. He cannot be a Lands Commander.
What?
He can just be John good stuff. If
That's true. I guess he's not niche enough. But like we got new Bant boys. We got new. Is it girls? Like, you know what I mean? Like
they answered a lot of things.
Like they've answered questions, but they haven't done what they did in 2017 even, which is like we're introducing basically an entirely new mechanic, or what they did in 2016, which is arguably the best Commander year, and like that partners went.
Well, also
2018 was a year of fan servicey compensation.
And I think, and again, let's not go. I think Wizards has done. There's no perfect year. There's stuff that we in our format love to see, and now we're happy that we've gotten. We have our little cupcakes. But then there's other cupcakes that they've spat in, which we won't even talk about. Like there's other products and business decisions.
Yeah.
Outside of the context of the format, I try to think like, imagine if we had another year like we had with Amonkhet. Not that I think Amonkhet was bad. I just think from our format perspective.
I think Amonkhet failed on multiple fronts, but yes.
There are some years of outside of just the benefit of the supplemental products.
Yeah.
That the standard sets again I'm playing in MTG Arena right now. I don't care otherwise about standard. I just want the 5 cards that I want, either a reprint, I want something new and shiny, or something impactful. So I think, as you said, to wrap 2018 up, I think they did a very good job at giving us things we want, maybe needed, from a tribe perspective.
But overall, it was pretty safe.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Like, it was safe. It was a year that maybe had a little bit for everybody.
The answer was yeah.
Because I would probably say on a whole 2018, because I'm always the guy that likes to see like, oh, how are we gonna break something new? I mean, we got some of that, didn't get a lot, but then we also got some things that needed some help.
Yeah.
Like but overall, I think it was a safe year for EDH.
Safe, moving towards good, I would say. There are, again, good does not mean perfect.
I think we'll have to evaluate if some of our predictions about some of these things are going to either be met or crushed in 2019. And then we can come back and say, was 2018 safe or good?
We'll also have to do a bit of a comparison back in the next year in review. Last section.
So you know what time it is. Hashtag shit we looked up this week. I guess I don't know if this is always in a week interval, but you know what? We've looked stuff up between here and the last one.
In the week that leading up to us recording this.
Yeah. So one of the things that our playgroup always struggles with, and it often defaulted to one of the guys who knew this inside and out, while the rest of us had really no idea, which is the difference between Commander's dying and death triggers, and what destroy means, and how you get these effects when your commander gets exiled, and all of these things. And sometimes we're like, do I get the trigger from this, my commander dying or not?
It's also some of the older cards that say, they say die or put in your graveyard or destroy this way, or there's
lots of language going on here.
The syntax of the rules here.
And so there's 2 cards that we want to kind of use as our example for the majority of this discussion. The first one is Death Reap Ritual. It's a Golgari enchantment that has Morbid. Morbid means when a creature has died this turn, you get an effect. In the case of Death Reap Ritual, you get to draw a card.
At the end step.
The other one is Decree of Pain, which is a big board wipe. I think it's 6 and a black.
I believe so. You can also cycle it.
But what it reads is that you destroy all creatures, and then you get to draw a card for each creature destroyed this way. And that's the distinguishment that our playgroup always goes, death, destroy, did it die? Was it destroyed? Do I get it?
Usually the answer, the question is, do I get it?
Do I get it? And so we did some research. What's that girl from the Magic School Bus, according to my research?
I cannot remember my 90s references.
Okay, well, Magic the School Bus. I'll cue visual cue. So, die means go to the graveyard. This seems so morbid in a literal sense. Why did you look this up, John? I don't know why. Why did you look this up? Okay, so say your commander gets destroyed by a Vindicate. So here, look, I'm getting confusing. And then you use the replacement effect to say, oh, it's not going to go to my graveyard, it's going to go to my command zone, which is what you're allowed to do. Your commander did not die.
Nope.
So you do not get the trigger of Death Reap Ritual, which reads whenever a creature dies. Dying as a vernacular in the comprehensive rule guide intrinsically links the effect to the graveyard.
Yep.
Destroy is different. Destroy is different than die. Destroy is an effect. So if somebody casts a Decree of Pain, if you cast a Decree of Pain and your commander is on the field, your commander would technically go to the to the graveyard, but your replacement affecting it to the command zone.
Well, it's also showing the fact that the effect of this is happening while it's on the board. It gets destroyed.
Yeah.
It's where it goes into that next state of, okay, now you have the opportunity of the player, am I going to replace this?
And you go, yes, usually.
So the destroying happened because it was on the board.
Yes.
It was a living thing that got destroyed.
It got destroyed. So you do get the Decree of Pain trigger.
You get let's say there's 7 other creatures and and one commander, they draw 8.
Yeah. So because destroy does not link the placement of the commander of where the card goes, whereas a death trigger means that it has to go from the battlefield to the graveyard. So just to repeat, if your commander is on the battlefield and it gets removed, if it gets destroyed, you do get the Decree of Pain trigger, which is for each creature destroyed this way, but you will not get the Death Reap Ritual end step trigger if that was the only creature that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so if Decree of Pain somehow read, destroy all creatures, they can't be regenerated, you draw a card for each creature that would go into a graveyard.
Or that died this way.
Or would be put into a graveyard.
Yeah.
You get -1.
Yeah.
From what you would think. The other important thing that the replacement effect is something that I think we should not talk about, but there are certain commanders that can really use this to their advantage. But the other example we have is if a commander, someone Path of Exile is your commander.
Yeah.
You then decide the spell is resolved. Okay.
Yeah.
Am I replacing my commander going into the exile zone by putting it into the command zone?
Yeah.
Yes. And you still get the basic land.
Because they're not tied to one another. Path of Exile does not link you getting a basic land to where the card ends up. It just says that it gets exiled, and then you get to search for a basic land. But if it gets exiled and then it goes to the command zone, Path of Exile doesn't care.
Yeah.
Path of Exile still says you get your basic land. So the Sparks notes of it is that if you don't get death triggers off of your commander going to the command zone, but you do get destroy triggers, and you do get triggers that don't care, I guess in general, don't care where your commander ends up. So that's Path of Exile and Swords to Plowshares.
Well, because if it read exile target creature, if the creature would go and would be exiled this way, its controller then searches. No, it doesn't say that. It says exile target creature. Its controller searches their library. Blah 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 blah.
They're separate clauses.
Because this is something that I know we're a bit short on time. This is something that happens so often because
we play in a pretty
removal heavy, graveyard heavy. I would say there's a lot of targeted removal that have an effect that say.
I think we play in a meta that likes to reset.
Yep.
Typically, and usually people are very cognizant of the fact that things need to die and stuff. You know, we're not going to turn 20.
But there's also, I think, a lot of the removal that our play group uses isn't always just exile target online permanent. Period.
There's usually effects that are tacked on.
Destroy target blank. Its controller does this, or you do this, or.
So just to regurgitate one last time, death triggers typically don't apply to your commander unless you're putting it into the graveyard.
You're not replacing that effect.
If you're not replacing that effect. But if there's a destroy trigger and your commander is getting replaced to the command zone, you will get that destroy trigger.
Or the person doing the destroying.
Yeah. So,
Do you want to know one way to get around the commander being destroyed?
No, don't. I was gonna say this because you know what doesn't give a shit about any of this.
Negate.
No, Cyclonic Whip. Everybody just plays Cyclonic Whip, and you never have to deal with die or death triggers ever again.
Just don't overload it though.
No. Well, yeah. You have a choice.
No, just pick one of the blue.
One of. Okay.